Yikes, this kinda sucks. We're not real. And Jax is. Actually, I'm low-key on a higher level than all of y'all, so I'm really cool with all of this. Boo-hoo! Boo-hoo! Body dysmorphia. Hey, y'all still moping about that bitch ass nigga?
Hey, y'all, it's Uno time!
Uno? Yeah, Uno. He was kind of a friend.
Shut the fuck up. Jax didn't like any of us. He was a narcissist. He was a bitch. And he lucky I didn't beat his ass before he fractured. He had too much shit going on, and we all better off without him.
Yeah, you right. Yeah, that is kind of true. Yeah, that's some real shit.
Plus, on the bright side,
Now that we know that we're all digital life forms, if we put our minds to it, we could probably create whatever the fuck we want. Instead of being depressed, y'all need to get y'all imagination power levels up and start making some shit. You know what, Uno? You're right. Fuck this depression shit. Yeah.
hell yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything I can do to help?
Of course, Pomni. And you can start by answering me one question.
Sure, I'm down for whatever.
How much can you eat? Hey, greetings everyone. Hope everybody's been well. So I just decided to make a quick little podcast because I recently watched The Amazing Digital Circus, the last act. Came out June 4th. I watched it June 4th, but as of today, I'm actually recording this June 10th. It's just been spending some time kind of gathering my thoughts and figuring out how I want to I felt like I need to put this in words and make a video. First and foremost, I'm gonna let you guys know now. Before I get into the nitty gritty, overall, I think if you're a fan of the Amazing Digital Circus and you want to support the Amazing Digital Circus, I would say save your money. Save your money. Not watch this in theaters. Like, if I could go back in time, I would say this to myself. I would say save your money. Don't watch this in theaters. And instead, probably buy like some merch and wait for the episode to be released on YouTube. Okay? And this is advice for myself if I go back in time. But, you can take it as you will. But that's overall. And I know some people, if you are a fan of the series, you might have whatever your reaction or expectations may be. But overall, that's just how I feel. And I'm about to tell you why. Okay. And spoiler alert. Okay. So the Amazing Digital Circus, I think, began in this is off the dome too. I didn't feel like doing all that research and stuff. I'm not trying to. I didn't really feel like making this a video essay, but Amazing Digital Circus began like a few years ago. And kudos to them. I think they like this. The last episode was like the ninth episode, more or less, and they've been consistently putting out content. It's kind of like a different kind of project of something of this quality, which would normally have like a big production or be like endorsed by Netflix or some other streaming services, instead being like distributed online via YouTube, and they're kind of making it as they go. But for what it's worth, like it's the downtime between the episodes wasn't too bad. Release schedule was pretty good, but yeah, I kind of found myself a fan. I like what it. I like. I liked it, like the artwork and the direction. I feel like the story kind of really just it was almost the story wasn't as deep as I would have liked it to be though. Okay, because I felt like every episode I kind of noticed like every episode there was like a reoccurring theme more or less, which is like the characters would be hit with or had to deal with some kind of existential crisis like every episode, and I kind of like I was like I kind of found out like that's like pretty much the gimmick. And like if you go to a horror movie and the horror movie is just jump scares, like it's you're probably not going to be all that happy by the end of the horror movie, and that's kind of how I felt going into this, like like the whole concept of being like digital characters being stuck in a thing. And where I'm at in my life, I'm kind of like, hey man, give it your best shot. Show me what you got, Amazing Digital Circus. Like fuck me up, fam.
Come on.
And in all honesty, I feel like people don't say that often, but I think that's what people's attitudes were coming into it, But I don't think it ever really like hit home like that, man. I think I'm already like just pretty. I'm too deep, man. I'm in too deep. Like even the concept, if you don't know, Amazing Digital Circus was more or less. I think the creator Gooseworks has mentioned through word of mouth. I heard that they were inspired by "I Have No Mouth but Must Scream." If you ever were a fan of the YouTuber Super Best Friends, they got a great video on the video game. That's what they put me on. Just keeping it real. If you want to get that whole rundown, you can check that out. But it's a whole thing. It's a whole mind fuck. But yeah, this movie is just. It was. I had a lot. I had some. I didn't really. Well, I had a little. I was expecting. I didn't have, I would say, high expectations, but from what I was hoping to see, I think I got less than what I was expecting, and my expectations weren't even really that high going in. So, and first and foremost, I paid like $14. It was the whole situation of me going to watch the movie was kind of weird because I paid like $14, right? I went into the movie theater, saw like a small crowd of like young people. I was the only black guy. I don't, it's just, I'm out here. I was the only black guy at the movie theater. I paid for my ticket, just to give you an example of like the current state of movie theaters. When I went into the movie theater, I paid for the ticket. I had to use a digital kiosk, put my money in, bought the ticket. It didn't pop out the thing. I didn't get a receipt. And I just kind of stood there just looking at the machine, expecting like something to happen or somebody to walk up to me. And I just, after about like a minute or two, I just said, fuck it. And I just like figure, I'll just go, if I meet somebody at the ticket check or whatever, I'll just tell them I paid for it and I'll explain my story. And I went around. There was nobody there checking tickets, so I was like, okay. And I walked. Nobody stopped me, and I just went to the movie and I just sat down and just started watching that bitch. It was a pretty small crowd. I think they all had to be like 20 somethings. I think I might have saw like one 30-year-old, but he was sitting way up in front of the movie theater, which is I don't know, which is fucking weird to me. I don't know. I don't think that's really good for your neck or your eyes or your ears for that matter. But people let got let him do him. But also I gotta mention that I showed up like 5 minutes before the new material started because I didn't really feel like watching episode 8, which was being played in conjunction or prior to the new stuff. So I got there five like right as soon as Kinger did his thing and Kane got deleted. So I was like perfect timing. It was overall it was like kind of like an emo experience. It was a lot of tears and whining and stuff. It was a little bit kind of underwhelming. I don't know, like I don't like it when people try to like take a character and try to make you feel sad for them, but it's like not earned. Like I, I just it just that's one of the biggest things for me. And Jax was like the emotion vampire of like the whole group, and just kind of like brought everybody down. And overall, I think the biggest thing was Jax was a pussy. Jax was a pussy, man. That was like one of the biggest takeaways I got from it. Overall, everything going with Jax, like Jax was already just like an asshole, and it just never got better. Jax wound up freaking. I forgot what it was, but when the characters freaking just give up on life and turn into like a weird data monster. That happened to Jax. Overall, like it was just so many things that I felt like just could have been done better. Like, okay, so Jax had all this bullshit going on. Jax never got redeemed. Okay, like I know they might have had like a little flashback in it when Jax was like finally starting to open up about. Well, Jax didn't even open up about his bullshit. Pomni, whatever, more or less like somehow mind hacked the fucking weird data beast version of Jax and got into his mind and started, exploring stuff in his subconscious. And then she found out his memories and shit. And then she started talking to Jax like a fucking X-Men character, like Professor X. And Jax more or less said, I'm a fucking asshole. And we're like, yeah, we know. But, you could have just told somebody. It's a little bit understandable, but Jax was just already just very mentally ill, and it's just I don't know, like it was just like no real turnaround, no exploration of that. That's and Jax never got redeemed. Like okay, like you're an asshole, you did some fucked up shit, and at the end of the day, you just said fuck everybody, and then the movie's like you should feel bad for Jax. I'm like, yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, I feel like it should have been like maybe like another episode. And no, some shit like this. They kind of over. I'm gonna get to the ending because they kind of went like the Evangelion route a little bit. Like, okay, everything's fucked up, and this is the reality. We didn't win. Okay, we didn't win. This is what it is. And if you know Evangelion, they kind of like rectified the kind of like fucked up feeling that they left you with the anime series and kind of like released like different films over the years and more or less kind of like just brought it up to like a more positive space. And eventually, I feel like I'm gonna talk about that eventually because I love like one thing I liked about Evangelion. You had to get in the robot, and then at the very end, spoiler alert. This is spoiler alert for Ava too. Shinji had to get the fuck out the robot. So that right there, oh, I can definitely just kudos, kudos, kudos. A better written story, but they different things, different concepts. But so yeah though. So Jax never got redeemed. There was a part where when Pomni kind of had the breakthrough with Jax, Jax started glowing. Jax never fucking turned back. Like I don't know what the fuck that was about. Like Jax started glowing, and he's like he or she. I guess it was revealed that Jax was probably a woman, or maybe trans, and because they had the "Isn't She Lovely" song playing when the hug thing was happening, and right before I don't know, I feel like right before Jax was about to turn back, the crew pulled Pomni off of Jax, and I'm like, that was y'all kind of fucked something up right there. Like I don't even know what's the fucking point. Because if they did all of this, okay, we got new information. The new information is that the weird data monsters can be communicated with. Okay, And by the end of it, like they were probably already gonna like put them in a spot to kind of like segregate them from everybody or whatever. But I was just surprised that like in the concept of like, hey, maybe we can turn these guys back never came up. And I'm about to get into some other shit too because like, is this like a new kind of ability? Because that's because when Kinger started brought up the fact that y'all could conjure shit, or the characters figured out they could conjure shit and manipulate the reality around the fucking digital circuits. Like, what's like, wow, y'all should be figuring shit out. So, anyways, moving on. So, I'm gonna skip to the part where Kane. There was a cool part with Kane. Kane had like a Sandman moment after his fucking bipolar episode. It was deleted. I like the fact that they kind of like showed him kind of like figuring shit out, and he kind of like re-manifested himself, but at the same time he did somewhat kind of like he had a reality check, and he did do some research on and tried to make amends for what he was doing. So I mean, I think there's Kane, his whole setup got like a deeper story because it's like if he created them from like leftover data so he could like rule over them, or like where did the AI, a lot of unanswered questions, like where the fuck, how the fuck did their data get inside the machine? Like they don't explore that at all, like, or where, or whatever system or program that they're in. Like it's pretty much a reboot, but like sad reboot, if I'm really being honest. There was an interesting part where Kane was like, "Okay, I'm giving up. I'm sharing all my power with y'all, and whatever part of the his programming that he gave away, which was probably like his ego or some shit. He released that, but at the end credits, you saw that he put it like in a glass, I guess for safe storage. Who knows? There's definitely we gonna definitely the people are gonna need a part two. Okay, and I'm gonna skip to the ending, and I'm gonna say this much: when everything was all over with, and we found out that everybody wasn't real, and they're all inside this program, and they're all like kind of sad. By the end of the movie, like I think everybody in that theater, kind of like had like the same. They were expecting just some kind of glimmer of hope, and it never came. And by the time like we all sat when the lights came on and the credits start rolling, like we all just sat like in unison, just like waiting for like some after credit shit, just something. And I feel like we all should have just got up and just started hugging each other. I feel like because it was very unsatisfying. Like we by the time like we waited for all the credits to finish rolling, and then they started showing commercials and shit and merch for the Amazing Digital Circus, and then after that, it all like the that's when the reality set in that this is all you getting, all right, and we all just kind of like just slowly got up and started lumbering out the movie theater, like what the fuck, things that could have been done differently, all right. So now we're gonna put a little bit of Unoism into the Amazing Digital Circus, all right, the Amazing Uno Circus. So by the end of the movie, they were all sad and shit, but they weren't really trying to like improve their lives or improve the world around themselves. Like they were just sad and kind of like just stewing in their own emotions. And Gooseworks, the creator, has mentioned that it was like a very personal project. And I did like a little bit of research afterwards and found like how some of the characters' backgrounds kind of related to the creators. And I'm not gonna use the real name. I don't feel like it, so I'm gonna just use Gooseworks. Like for instance, Gangle had like a background where in her backstory where she worked in a fast food restaurant. Then you find out that Gooseworks worked in a fast food restaurant, and Gooseworks was also trans. And then there was the one character who didn't like their body. I'm drawing a blank on the name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. So I don't know where Jax comes into play because Jax was just really just like a dick, like a real narcissist. I want to say. a real narcissist. Uh, but you know, like when you on a team and you got somebody who just you can't really get rid of, man. Like you gotta compromise got to be reached, and I think Jax just they never really got a real compromise with Jax because like I mean I can understand where it's like y'all all in it together, y'all going through something together, and there is like a lingering sense of camaraderie, even if you don't like a person. When it's kind of like your life and your sanity on the line, like you gonna try to do like the default human thing and work together. But like you can't really vote anybody. They probably could have voted Jax off the island, if you know what I mean. But I mean, I don't think they really none of the characters were built like that. So Jax needed some more like character development or some more exploring. Like I don't know. I would like to hear what Gooseworks' whole process for developing Jax's character, like what their expectations were for Jax, because I don't think Jax was like really fully realized like during the whole show. All right, like all I got was just like Jax is a dick, a pussy. You fuck with Jax, Jax got some shit Jax ain't really figured out, you know. And even the way that Jax was acting around everybody, and like regardless of the situation, man, like like people don't want, if you in a group, don't everybody don't want to be dealing with that kind of shit, man. Gotta get your shit together, man. So, one thing I don't understand is that these characters never tried to explore what they were capable of, right? In the end of the movie, I thought they were kind of like starting to figure out, like maybe they had more control than they thought they did, like, cause I mean, you got the whole okay. You once you figure out that you fake and that you're a fucking program or something on like you're in the cyberverse or whatever. Okay, now the question is like, okay, your consciousness uh in technology or program, all right. So you already got that. Like what else can you do? Okay, like what all right, you got memories, there comes a point where you start feeling sad for yourself, but like what about the world around you? Because you got that scene where Kane was like going into program files of whatever the fuck they were in and like somehow got access to motherfucking Google and Facebook and shit. And Kane was like more or less surfing the internet. So it was like at this point, like, can I surf the internet? This is me. If I'm in a digital circus, these are the questions I'm asking. Like, what the fuck can I do? Can I okay, are we the only consciousness in this known universe? Like, have y'all checked any other sources? Have y'all gone exploring? And if so, like, what else can we do? Because, like, they're pretty much, I'm like, because what I'm getting at is that, like, these dudes are pretty much, considering what Kane was capable of, like, are they gods at this point? Can they also create AIs in other environments and cities and stuff? And I got a background in game design, so that's like I'm just like I'm already thinking of shit. Like I'm like, all right, well, I'm in the game. Like, what? All right, what else can I make? you know, uh, for instance, on some dark man shit. Like, if I could go on the internet, all right, like, what? Am I capable of an orgasm? Can I use my powers to have an orgasm? Like that's another thing. Can I like change my shape? Can I make myself become a human? Can I replicate? Man, can I do some Dr. Manhattan shit and just more or less generate a human body? And if we can do that, like, why don't we just make a whole nother world? Like that's it, yeah, like yeah. Do I really have to say it? So this never really got explored. At the end of the movie, we all just started feeling sad. Oh, we're fake people. Oh man. Oh, okay. Well, what's the next move? Because it's like then you find out that Kane, you can spy on the real world, so you can figure out what's going on in the news and shit. Like, can you enter other programs? Can you go through? Can you use like? Can you watch videos online? Like, can I open up somebody's camera and watch the world from the inside? Can I watch what's going on the outside from the inside? Yeah. So yeah, man, that's pretty much where my issues with the writing was, man. Like I just like it's so much more that could have been done. I don't think that at any point that Pomni explained to the other characters that she went inside the mind of Jax and was able to communicate with the thing. So, like if is it possible, can they turn back is another question. And I feel like this is just my guess that we gonna end up with another amazing digital circus movie that kind of like fixes the vibes of this movie or some shit. Uh, Amazing Digital Circus. This is not the last act. If you get where I'm going with this, and yeah, man. I mean, like coming from beginning to end, I felt like it just the ending wasn't really like a real payoff. Wasn't really like a real like I wish, if anything, I wish they had what they should have did. They should have put somebody in there to give you a hug on payroll after that movie, because I feel like at the $14 was not worth that experience. If you would have gave me a hug at the end, I would have been, hey, I probably would have paid $20. But yeah, so that's the Amazing Digital Circus, the last act. And I'm gonna keep this video short. I got another video coming up. I've been watching oops, I almost said Vagabond. I've been watching Vinland Saga. And that's some shit. As well as some other things like the new season of Rick and Morty and a bunch of other stuff. So I'm gonna try to get that video done soon. If you're watching this, stay tuned. It's hot as hell right now. We in summer in Ohio, man. But other than that, be well, stay cool, and until next time.